Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Chorus Cornix, and welcome to Yacc, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I talk about it. This week's game is Jurassic Park for the Gameboy. It was released in 1993 and it's a single-player action game developed by Oceansoft and also published by them. And also there'll be spoilers up ahead just so you know, but first a little backstory. I think originally my brother had this game on Game Boy. And back then, you had to save up a lot of money to get the games you wanted because your parents weren't always buying them for you. And it didn't also help that me and my brother didn't know a lot of English back then. So the plot of this game is really simple. You're Dr. Alan Grant, trapped on the dinosaur attraction called Jurassic Park on Nublar Island. And the dinosaurs are roaming free due to a power outage, and you need to survive and escape this island with the other survivors. So when you start up the game, you get some credits and some logos, and you get to select your language of preference. And then a dino pops in from the bottom of the screen, revealing the menu. From here you can choose start a new game, you can choose info and sound options. And if you choose info, you get a 3D map of the island and some text about the dinosaurs with some cool looking sprites. So the first level of the game has you collecting dinosaur eggs, and you avoid the other dinos in park that are loose, and you also collect different ammo types for your guns, but I don't remember that Alan Grant had a gun in the movie, but in the game he does. So you fire the gun with the B button and you cycle through the different ammunitions with the select button. At the bottom of the screen you have score, the number of eggs you need to collect. You also have your current weapon of choice, the one you have selected, extra lives and a life bar. You can also pick up arrow icons. I think those are for health, and then you have the question marks, so you don't know if these are good or bad. They can just flat out explode and hurt you. Once all the eggs are collected inside and out of buildings, you need to open the main gate, and as a kid I remember this dragging on forever because I didn't know where to go. The next stage is avoiding the Triceratops herd, while Timmy is following you, this kid. So don't get crushed, but there's a funny animation if you do get crushed by the big dinos. So the next level has the same mechanic as the first level. You need to collect eggs, but it also has a rowing boat segment where you need to row upstream and collect more eggs while avoiding dinosaurs and logs, and you also fight the current. Eventually you will reach the top of the river where you need to escort Lex, this girl from the movie, while fending off a T-Rex. So you need to shoot it a bunch so you don't get eaten, but if you do get eaten, there's a funny animation where Grant's hat is just left. And a funny thing about the sound effects here, when you shoot the T-Rex, it actually sounds like the smaller dinosaurs when they get hit, and it's just stupid. So in the next level you need to turn on the main power. Once again you need to collect eggs in this maze-like vine level. So it's very hard to spot the enemies as well because they blend into the grayscale background. You also need to turn on these switches in order for the system to reboot and stuff, and it takes a long time to do so. The next level has you dealing with the velociraptors while also collecting more eggs. So you go inside the caves and you look for these bombs. You need to place these bombs on these X markers all around the map in order to deal with the dinosaurs. So as a kid I never made it this far, and the levels just drag on. They're not very innovative, they just drag. The next mission is going to the docks and escaping, but you also need to collect more eggs. It's just repetitive. So the dinos on this level are jumping out of the water, so you need to avoid those, and eventually you will get onto the ship, and the ship is huge, by the way. You have to navigate through all these rooms, and eventually you can send a distress signal like a rescue message. So the next level is getting to the helipad, but guess what? You need to collect more eggs. And the end game is kind of cool, so you walk around the credits, quite literally. You have these signs with the people that actually made the game. So gameplay. You're Alan Grant on the island Nublar, trying to collect dinosaur eggs while escaping with the other survivors of Jurassic Park. Control, the D-pad is movement, the B button fires your gun, the A button jumps, the start button pauses, and the select button cycles through your guns. Graphics. I really like the small still images that are displayed between the levels. Otherwise the game graphic is really simple, but that's not a bad thing because you have to remember you're dealing with the Game Boy here. Sound and music. John Dunn made a soundtrack for this game, and there's not a single bad track in this game. It's just like Power Blade for the NES, the music is just amazing. So level 3, the credits and the title theme are especially good. Easter egg seekers and glitches. So when you start up the game, a dinosaur will open his mouth and reveal the main menu. While this is happening, press up, down, left, up, down, right, up, down, and then select and do that again, and then you will hear a verifying sound. that you punched in the code correctly, and then you can select a new game, and once in that game you press start and select, and you can just skip that level. It's a wonderful thing. It would have been awesome knowing this as a kid though, because it would have saved me so much frustration. So in conclusion, I wrote, yes, try it if you like Game Boy and the early Jurassic Park movies. So the music is awesome. I didn't know the Game Boy actually could sound this good. The graphics are okay. It's just the thing with the Game Boy and the grayscale. It's really hard to see some enemies at times. The game isn't that terribly long. If you know what you're doing, you can beat it within an hour or so. But the thing that I hate the most is the egg collection. I know they tried to save the progress that they made with their DNA research, but this is just ridiculous. Couldn't someone else, like a pickup crew do this instead of just one single man with a gun? But I don't know. If I could recommend something, probably watch the movies instead, the early ones where they didn't change too much with the CG and stuff. But that's another topic for another thing, like a review or something. But yeah, thanks for listening and for watching, and take care.